Hi, Renee Hasseltine here from shareyourpassion.com.au. And today I'm going to be talking to you about how do you take that tangled mess of knowledge from your head and turn it into something that's tangible, a tangible methodology, a signature system with visual models. So it's a quality problem, isn't it? Because as experts, we know so much stuff. It's our greatest strength, but it can be, in some situations, it can be a big weakness because we can find it difficult to clearly and succinctly explain what we do because it is so complex. How do I, in 30 seconds explain to someone my 20 years experience? Yeah. How do we distill that down? So creating a signature system and turning that into visual models is a really great way to do that. So how do we do that? How do we get what is in our head and turn it into a picture? So this is the process. It's a 5-step process. So firstly, step number 1 is about asking questions. So let's say, for example, you're going to be creating your educate model. And the educate model is all about showing your clients what is the step-by-step process of things that they need to do to get from A to Z. So they come to you with problem A, they want result Z. What are all the things they need to do to get that end result? So the questions you want to be asking to create that educate model are, when a client comes to you, what is the first thing that you do? Great. Then what do you do? And then what do you do? And then what do you do? Now, when you're making sure that you're focusing on the doing, because the educate model is about the doing, okay? So I don't want you to say they do mindset, and they don't do mindset. What do you actually do with them that works on the mindset, okay? Specifically answering that question of what are you doing? And when you're doing this, I would actually say that you want to be putting everything that you do on a post-it note. Stick them all on post-it notes. Now, you might want to put them up on a wall, which is great. You can do that. Make sure you wash the wall first, because if the wall's dusty, the post-it notes fall down. Hot tip. We've done that a few times. Every time we run an event, quick, wipe the walls. We're about to post the post-it notes. And they still fall down like rain. Anyway, I'll move on from that. So that's step number 1, is asking the questions. And when you're in that creative process, you want to make sure that you're not censoring anything that comes out. Anything that comes out, any idea, any thought, any answer to that question, you want to say, thank you, brain, keep it coming. Okay, because you don't want to be sending the message to your brain that what your brain is doing is wrong, because then it will start, shutting down that punny brain and be like, and you'll start contracting rather than expanding your thinking. So keep the thinking expanding and brainstorm without censorship. Okay, that's step number 1. Step number 2 then, so say, you've brainstormed all the things that you need to do to get your client from A to Z. You're probably going to have 50 plus post-it notes, right? Now, you can't go to your client and say, hey, I've got the 407-step system to get from A to Z. Then you're like, screw you, I'm going to the person who's got 5 steps, right? So what you need to do with those post-it notes is then to start chunking them. Group them together in a way that makes sense. And you want to chunk that between 3 and 7 chunks of information. For those of you who've done our NLP, you've probably learned that you want between 2 and 9 chunks. However, I've found that the sweet spot with visual models is really between 3 and 7. I will always make exceptions to that if, there's hard and fast, like, no, there clearly are 8 steps here and we can't take one of them out, or we can't group 2 of them together and there's 8 and that's it. Fine. I will be flexible on that. But generally, I try and work the models to between 3 and 7 chunks. So that's step 2. Step number 3 then is about drafting it. So say you've got 5 steps in your process, then you want to draft a picture of what that's going to look like. When you're selecting the shape, you want the shape to be appropriate for the metaphor, for the story that you're telling with this model. So if it's a linear process, a step-by-step chronological order, like we're talking about with an educate model, usually, most of the time an educate model is linear, the order does matter, then it's going to be something that goes, generally from, maybe left to right, horizontal chronological order, linear shape, or, you might have a vertical one, rarely, but sometimes people do choose those. So you're going to pick a shape and you're going to draft it and you're going to draw it. And then step 4 is that you're going to actually present it. Now, whether you're presenting it to a one-on-one client, whether you're sitting down having coffee with someone and drawing on the back of a napkin, or what I prefer that you do is you stand up in front of a room and draw it on a whiteboard and talk to it. It's really important that you actually present this model a couple of times and get feedback so that you can tweak it a little bit, because really every time you present your model, you'll go, oh, actually that felt a bit awkward. I think I need to switch that, or I need to change the language there because it didn't quite flow properly. So it's really important to present your model before you go to step 5, which is about the polishing. That is actually where you, send your model off to a graphic designer to be done to a high standard in your branding and looking sexy and animated. So that is the 5-step process to take what is in your head and turn it into a visual model. I hope that helps. If you have any questions, please pop them in the comments below. Let me know what you think. I'm Renee Hasseldine. Thanks for watching.